They say blood is thicker than water, but what do you do when the person whose veins run with the same blood as yours stabs you in the back? Not with a metaphoric knife, but with a real estate contract. I'm talking about my own sister, Maya, the person I shared a bedroom with for 18 years, who looked me in the eye and lied while she was secretly selling the only piece of property that was ever truly mine, the beautiful 2-bedroom condo my Grandma Rose left me. I found out when a letter arrived from a title company addressed to her and the new buyers, a letter that detailed the final closing on a property I still believed was mine, a property I was supposed to be moving into next month. The gut punch was the dollar amount, a clean $350,000, all of which vanished into her bank account. So, here's my question for you right off the bat. When you find out your sister has committed outright fraud, stealing your inheritance to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars, are you wrong to completely and utterly destroy her life in return, leaving no stone unturned until she faces true consequences? Was I the monster for what I did next, or was I simply a victim fighting back? To truly understand the depth of this betrayal, you have to know a little about my grandmother and my sister. Grandma Rose was the matriarch, the soft, warm center of our very complicated family. She was a self-made woman who bought that condo in a beautiful, up-and-coming neighborhood 20 years ago, intending it to be a safety net for whoever in the family needed it most. It was her special place, filled with sun-drenched windows and the smell of her famous lemon cookies. Maya and we were always different. I was the quiet, bookish one, the one who worked 3 jobs to pay for college, the one who always followed the rules. Maya, bless her heart, was the charismatic tornado. She never met a shortcut she didn't take, or a financial risk she wasn't willing to gamble on. She was always about to make it big, always needed a small loan that somehow never got repaid, always living slightly above her means on an unstable career in freelance event planning. When Grandma Rose passed away peacefully 2 years ago, it was devastating. But she had been very clear about her wishes. Her will, which we all read together with the lawyer, stipulated that her savings were to be split evenly between my mother, Maya, and me. But the condo, specifically and unequivocally, was left to me. Her reasoning, which she shared privately with me once, was that she knew I was the most responsible and the one who would truly appreciate and utilize it as a stable foundation for my future. The stipulation was that I couldn't move in until the current lease expired, which was still 18 months away. But the property was legally mine, filed and registered, with Maya only listed as the co-executor of the entire estate, not a co-owner of the condo itself. For those 2 years, I paid the property taxes, the insurance, and covered all minor repairs, every single expense because, after all, it was mine. I was excited. I planned to use the rental income from the last few months of the lease to buy new furniture. This condo wasn't just money. It was my ticket to finally feeling secure, my first step into real adulthood. Maya seemed fine with the will. She got a decent chunk of cash and she was busy pursuing her latest venture, an overly ambitious, poorly researched catering business. Or so I thought. The first hint that something was wrong was small, a mere flicker of intuition. I tried to call the tenant last month to discuss the final walkthrough, but the number was disconnected. I called Maya, who sounded slightly panicked but dismissed it as the tenant probably just switching carriers and said she'd handle it. I didn't think much of it until about 2 weeks later, when I received an email from the property management company saying they were no longer handling the property's account and all future inquiries should go to the listed owner. Again, a quick call to Maya, and again, a smooth, practiced lie. She said, "Oh, I just decided to manage it ourselves for the last month to save on the management fees, sis. More money for your furniture, right?" She made it sound like she was doing me a favor, and like a fool, I believed her. She was my sister. Why would I ever doubt her? The truth arrived on a Tuesday morning, a thick envelope with the logo of a major title company. It was addressed to Maya, our last name and current occupant, with an internal note detailing the final settlement, the title transfer, and the distribution of the sale proceeds. I remember my hands physically shaking as I opened it. It was all there in black and white. Sale price, $350,000. The date of closing was last week. The funds were dispersed to an account listed under Maya's name only. My blood turned to ice. I didn't scream or cry. I just went utterly, perfectly numb. A silence descending on my apartment so profound I could hear the ringing in my ears. I immediately called the lawyer who handled my grandmother's estate. After a frantic 20-minute call, he confirmed the worst. Maya had presented a fraudulent document, a quitclaim deed that was supposedly signed by me, transferring my interest in the property to her, thus making her the sole seller. This document was forged. The signature was a crude imitation of mine, but it had been notarized, and crucially, she had filed the necessary paperwork with the county recorder's office months ago, right after the tenant moved out early, a detail Maya had never mentioned. She had systematically, calmly, and meticulously stolen my inheritance and sold it off for a massive profit. When I finally confronted her that night, she didn't even try to deny it. She tried to cry, she tried to apologize, and then she launched into the excuses. I needed the money, I was drowning. The catering business was failing, I had credit card debt, I was going to lose my car. She said she was planning to pay me back, every single penny, as soon as her next big event came through. She told me to think of it as a loan she took out against my future, a huge loan she never asked permission for. She had the audacity to suggest that since I already had a good, stable job and my own small apartment, I didn't need the condo as much as she needed the cash to save her from ruin. The sheer selfishness of it was breathtaking. I looked at the person who was supposed to be family, and I saw a stranger, a criminal, a parasite. I had been robbed, not by a stranger breaking into my home, but by the one person I should have been able to trust implicitly. She showed no real remorse, only regret at being caught. She begged me not to tell our parents, who are elderly and in poor health, claiming the stress would literally kill them. That was the crucial moment, the point where I had to make the hardest decision of my life. So that's the situation I was in. The choice was clear. I could take the high road, accept a promise of repayment that I knew in my heart would never materialize, protect my sister from the consequences of her crimes, and keep the peace in the family, all while knowing she had committed a felony and was walking free with $350,000 of my money. Or I could choose justice, a path that would certainly blow up my family, expose my sister as a fraudster, and lead to an expensive, painful legal battle. Before I tell you what happened next, I want you to pause and comment below what you would have done in my shoes. Would you sacrifice your own financial security and peace of mind for the sake of family harmony? Would you have let her get away with it? I'm genuinely curious to know your gut reaction right now before you hear the end. I stood there, looking at my sister, hearing her pathetic excuses, and I felt something cold and hard crystallize in my chest. It wasn't just the money, it was the sheer arrogance of her actions. She thought I was a pushover, someone she could just steamroll because I was the quieter, less dramatic one. She made a crucial mistake, though. She underestimated me. She also made one massive legal mistake that I was about to weaponize. When she forged my signature on that quitclaim deed, she needed a notary public to make the document appear legitimate. The notary had to sign a sworn statement that the person whose signature was on the deed, me, had appeared before them with proper identification. In her rush and panic, Maya had used a mobile notary who, it turned out, was notorious for bending the rules and not checking IDs properly, likely someone she knew or paid extra to look the other way. I had an unimpeachable alibi. On the day the deed was notarized, I was 1,500 miles away attending a mandatory corporate training seminar for my job, and I had plane tickets, hotel reservations, and training sign-in sheets to prove it. I left her apartment that night without saying another word, ignoring her pleas. The next morning, I did 3 things. First, I went to the police and filed a report for Grand Larceny and Forgery. I handed over the original will, the title company's closing statement, and the complete documentation proving I was out of state on the day the notary stamp was applied. Second, I met with the estate lawyer and had him send a cease and desist letter to Maya, informing her that I was initiating a civil suit for the full amount of the sale plus punitive damages. Third, and this was the piece de resistance, I called the title company that closed the sale. Title companies are obligated to insure against defects in the title, which a forged deed absolutely is. The notary's fraudulent witnessing invalidated the entire transaction. I informed them that a fraudulent deed was used, a felony had been committed, and I had proof the signature was forged and the notary's witness statement was false. They panicked. Their internal investigation confirmed that the mobile notary was indeed shady, and the buyers of the condo now had a cloud on their title. The entire $350,000 transaction was at risk of being reversed, and the title company was now facing a lawsuit from the new owners who stood to lose their new home. The fallout was immediate and catastrophic, exactly as I had intended. The police quickly escalated the forgery case because I had concrete evidence, my flight manifests and the training documents. Maya was arrested 2 days later. She spent the night in a cell, and bail was set high. When our parents finally learned the truth, it wasn't from me. It was from a frantic call Maya made to them from jail. My mother was devastated, crying and pleading with me to drop the charges, begging me to save my sister from a criminal record. My father was quieter, but his disappointment in Maya was a palpable thing. He told me, "You have to live with your decision," and I told him, "I will, Dad, and so will she." I didn't drop the charges. The civil lawsuit and the criminal case proceeded simultaneously. The title company, desperate to avoid a massive claim from the new condo owners, stepped in and essentially forced Maya's hand. They threatened to freeze any of her remaining assets and sue her themselves for their losses. Facing both criminal prosecution and a massive civil suit, Maya had no choice but to settle. In the end, the deal was simple but complete. Maya was required to immediately pay me back the full $350,000, which she did by liquidating every single asset she had left, including what was supposed to be her inheritance from Grandma Rose. She also had to pay all my legal fees and a significant amount of the title company's costs, leaving her completely wiped out, financially ruined, and effectively homeless. On the criminal side, she pleaded guilty to a lesser charge of grand larceny in exchange for no jail time, but she was given 5 years of probation and a felony conviction on her record. Her career was over, her reputation destroyed. The felony conviction meant her dreams of making it big were permanently crushed. She finally faced real, adult consequences for her lifetime of cutting corners and lying. The aftermath was tense. My relationship with Maya is non-existent. We don't speak and I don't regret it. She made her own bed, and now she has to sleep in it. Our parents, thankfully, finally understood. My father told me quietly that while he hated the pain, I had done the right thing, the only thing that could teach her a real lesson. With the money recovered, I put a down payment on a beautiful home in a better neighborhood and finally achieved the financial stability Grandma Rose wanted for me. I bought a small plaque for the condo I didn't get, and I put it in my new home, a small reminder of the inheritance that was stolen and then fought for. My sister gambled our family bond and my future on her desperation and failed. She stole what was mine, and in return, I took her entire future. She learned the hard way that a crucial mistake in a forgery is enough to bring down your whole world. I often wonder if I went too far, but then I remember the look on her face when she confessed, the utter lack of genuine remorse, and I realize I did what I had to do. I protected myself and honored my grandmother's wishes. So, that's my story. A tale of theft, betrayal, and the sweetest, coldest revenge. Don't let anyone take what is rightfully yours, especially not family. Like this video if you were on my side and think I did the right thing by pressing charges, even against my own sister. Subscribe for more true stories about family drama and unbelievable betrayals. And finally, share your final thoughts on this whole mess in the comments section below. I'll see you all in the next story.